Most of the things I said in the How to Lead a Board Adventure video hold also true when you are writing and leading your own adventure in an existing background. But obviously you can't just pick up an adventure and read from front to back and start from there. However, there are a lot of campaign settings available you can use as a basis to write your own adventure. And there are some advantages in using a pre-existing setting compared to using your own setting. Mostly, you don't have to put that much work into it, and you don't have to come up with everything yourself. First, you have to pick your campaign setting. Just as before, pick something that piques your interest and get feedback from your players what they might like to play, or present them the setting you picked out and see if they are just as excited about this setting as you are. Next is to read your setting book. Not necessarily from front to back, but if you have time and the setting is interesting, why not? These setting books are often written in a way that many adventure hooks are explicitly presented to you or implied somewhere in the text. For example, in the Seattle campaign book for Shadowrun, there's Redmond Barrens in Seattle, which is a really bad slum, a massive, sprawling, Mad Max-like wasteland ruled by gangs and violence. And there's this Red Cross-like organization that goes with a convoy with humanitarian aid in there like once a month. And for security, they hire Shadowrunners. I read that as they are hiring player characters. So immediately I could imagine a Mad Max-like adventure where my PCs had to protect this convoy from attacking biker gangs and wasteland riders. And we had a short, action-filled adventure. So, when you read the setting book and at some point you go, that sounds like a good start for an adventure, then write it down and start working your way from there. Read the parts of the setting that are important to this adventure, the locations. If the setting does not give detailed descriptions of the locations and the NPCs, depending on how comfortable you are at improvising, you may want to elaborate the details before you play. If there are not enough descriptions of locations and NPCs, come up with your own. A random generator might help you get some ideas. You might want to make up or work out the stats of your most important NPCs. It's generally a good idea to have a long list of NPC names on hand. I use a random generator to give me a list of like 20 names, and I print those out, leaving a lot of space between the names. So, when I need an NPC, I pick a name, and after using that NPC, I write down what that NPC is. For example, players come into a tavern and order beer, and I come up with the barmaid, and she's like 12-year-old daughter of the innkeeper, raven black hair, blue eyes, and wants to be an adventurer herself one day, but her father wouldn't let her. So, nothing special, nothing I really need to work out beforehand. But I can give her a name, and then I write down what that character was, and if the PCs come back into that tavern, I can bring up that NPC again. Maybe the PCs remember her. Maybe she ran away to become an adventurer, and the PCs have to save her, and it is the hook for a whole new adventure. And something like that makes the world feel a little bit more alive. Now, depending on your style and how comfortable you are at improvising, probably have to do a top 12 best tips helping you to improvise or something at some point. But then you're good to go. The actions of your NPCs and of your player characters will drive the plot. And you know the locations, the events of the plot will be happening at. So, what else do you really need? You might want to elaborate. Maybe draw maps for the important locations, where complicated scenes like fights, infiltration, or a dungeon might happen. If your setting book does not provide you with detailed maps, you can usually find pretty good maps online if you are lazy and just use those. Maybe edit them a little. Also, there are random dungeon generating tools. I often use a website called Donjon RPG Tools. It has a lot of random generators, very helpful. I'll leave you a link down in the video description. If you are running a game of Dungeons & Dragons or Shadowrun, you might want to prepare some encounters, not just with your important NPCs, but also some henchmen they might have with them, so you get a balanced fight. And if you are running a classical dungeon crawl, you might go to the length of drawing the map and preparing every single encounter beforehand. Just copy out and then mix and match on the fly whatever monsters you want to have in your setting. I, for my part, never come up with a plot beforehand. Because in my experience, no plot survives the first encounter with the players. They will do something unexpected, then all your careful planning comes to waste. That's why I focus on the things I need to improvise the plot on the fly. I need to have my important NPCs in order. I have to know who they are and what their motivations are and what they will do if the players interact with them or if the players don't interact with them. The world is running if the players are not there to witness it too. Maybe then at a later point in the adventure they will find out what the consequences of that actions were, even if they were not there to witness them. For example, if you have like a roaming band of bandits and the players might hear rumors of that in the local tavern, but they ignore it and go to a ruin in the woods, uncover that. While they are there, the bandits might attack and pillage the town the players were in, maybe take a few hostages. Then when the players come back, they find out, yep, that has happened while we are gone, and then they have to deal with it. And that is the start for another adventure in and of itself. Don't be afraid to alter anything about the setting you don't like. Maybe there's an NPC that has a pretty cool concept, but the stats are not suited for your game, so alter the stats. Or maybe you don't like whatever species the NPC is. Or maybe you like the NPC but you don't like the name, so change the name around. At the end of the day, it is your game. You're no slave to the setting. You are the master of your own game. As you might have guessed by now, I like to run my games in very much sandbox style and improvise a lot. To summarize, take a setting you like, familiarize yourself with the setting, and then use it to improvise the plot on the fly. and have a great adventure and a lot of fun. That's it for today. Hope you liked this video. Thanks and goodbye.